Thank you. So it's 2008, and we are in a financial crisis caused by lenders, predatory lenders, creating what's called toxic debt, perpetuated by real estate brokerage houses. And I'm the genius that wants to start a real estate company thereafter. So what was I thinking? And I think it really came down to, having been in the business already for 20 years, having helped build a company and sell that to a major franchise in 2004, I had this gnawing feeling, and it was a sense of almost, not quite shame, but I didn't feel proud of my profession. If you know anything about real estate and the profession, it has a kind of a tainted perspective. And now here we are in 2008, and the cover has been ripped off the ball. And as the world is reverberating and it's in this negative spiral, it's that voice inside of me said, make a difference. If you truly care about what this profession is, what if you created a platform that raised the bar of professionalism? What if you created a company where there was a greater sense of respect and where service trumped everything? And that question inspired me. And I spoke to a couple of friends, and they inspired me. And I spoke to a couple of our colleagues that, because I'd done this before and created a real estate company, they said, Nick, let's do this again. And I had two minds, and one of them was saying, are you out of your mind? And then the other mind was saying, yeah, go do that. And I listened to this one. And so I started to create, and ideas started to percolate, and they became strategies. And the first baseline commitment that I made to myself was, well, what is this going to look like, and how is it truly going to be different? And am I going to have the courage to play at this level? And so I sat down at my computer, and I wrote, and it just flowed right through me. I don't know if you've ever had that experience where that creative process where you're not moving those fingers, something else is, some other spirit is taking over. And I created a trust agreement. And it spoke to the level of care, it spoke to the demonstration of who we were. And there was a key phrase in there. And it said, as the needs of our clients are met, so shall our needs be taken care of. And I stepped away from this and I said, yeah, but can we really do it? And are there other like-minded players out there that will embrace it as well? Because this was going to be a business, this was my money, and a couple of colleagues that were going to be joining me in this pursuit. And so we looked at the landscape and said, are there enough players to make this a profitable enterprise? And we saw that there were. And now it's into 2009, early on, and it's still craziness. And I said, well, why are these people going to come to us in the midst of such uncertainty? So we built an idea of a model where we could offer stock, bring people in, give them the pride of ownership, an ownership interest. And then we thought, okay, so if we've got a trust agreement and we're creating partners, well, let's change the dynamic and the consciousness and not call them real estate agents, but call them associates, because they were a part of something. And the last component was to create an educational platform so that we could start to ingrain habits and instill this consciousness of, we're in this together, be of service, and trust that the dollars will come. So, 2009, September, 6 of us in temporary space, boxes all around us, and we have this marketing campaign that we put out to the brokerage community, and it says with our logo blazing, proudly serving our community since last Thursday. And that's how we started, and it had that kind of humor, and we kept saying to each other, "I like our odds, I like our odds," and that was big. That was our mantra. Well, the market embraced us. Within 3 years, we had 135 associates. We were in 3 offices, poised for greater expansion. We'd made almost $2 million in profit, and we gave dividends out to our partners. And I'm thinking, this is incredible. Well, reality TV comes along, and with it, there's this show called $1 Million Listing. Anybody know this show? Uh-huh. Well, I look at this and I'm thinking, this is absurd. Here we are, this exquisite company, and we're leading with service and we're making a difference. And here's a TV show that shows commission first, and then it says, and then you see these stories where 2 brokers getting together, pick up a couple of phone calls, and suddenly they've sold a $5 million house, and that's how it works. And I'm thinking to myself, this is deplorable. And as I got myopic, I lost sight of the landscape. I didn't see that I needed to deal with this. And as I pushed it down, some of my younger talent that I'd nurtured, that I'd really cared for, they started to see that glitz and that glamour and the seduction of that. And I started losing some of my young talent. And they were like children to me. And it bothered me to my core. It hurt. How could they do that? Things of loyalty. But I realized this is a business, Nick. And they're seeing an opportunity and they are seizing it. And I can't blame them for that. And so what started to happen was, as someone would leave, and when you're in a community kind of collegial setting, if someone leaves, the questions start to come by those that are left behind. Should I be going? Is this the right place for me anymore, or do I need to move on? And that became a real bellwether moment for me. So now we're into 4 years, and I'll tell you one thing, don't lead from a place of being on eggshells. And that's what I did. And I started questioning the company. I started questioning my intention. I started questioning the ability of whether this was even relevant anymore. Had the world changed and I was asleep at the switch? And so for that next period of time, called about 18 months, I was living in a hell. Laura, my wife, is in the audience. She will attest to this. And I started losing my own faith in myself and losing faith in what we were doing. And I thought, well, maybe I've got to do it differently. And in so doing, you could see on my face that it was permeating through the culture of our company. And more people left. And I was left kind of holding these pieces together. And so I spoke to dearest of friends, some that are in this audience right now. And I said, I need help. I'm hurting. I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to go. And the message that kept coming back to me, stay your course. Stay true to your heart. Stay true to the intention that you created. And that inspiration that brought this thing from an idea to an actual company, stay with that. And so I took that in and I thought to myself, all right, I'm doubling down. And if I go up in flames, I go up in flames. And so the transition came. And the first thing that I did was create another educational platform with those that were with us. And I started from a perspective of self-worth, your self-worth and your self-worth and your self-worth. And I called that forward from each one of them. All of my associates, what is your value proposition? And what inspires you? And how do you define success for yourself beyond money? How does play come into it? How does creativity come into it? What's higher purpose for you? And we came together and we started exploring these ideas. And it took us out of our heads of being focused on money and into a greater perspective, and it brought us together. And then the last thing that I did was create what became 9 keys or 9 elements of a negotiation that could take someone from A to Z so that they could feel more comfortable and confident in their abilities, so that they could look at anybody when asked the question, what is your value? They could say, I'm an excellent negotiator and I'd love that to put to work for you. And so we started coming together. And so now, fast forward to the end of 2016, we're now in 7 locations. We now have 240 associates. We did $2.5 billion in sales in 2016 alone, and over $10 billion since our inception. And as I come back to how did that happen, I can distill it to a very clear answer. It's the intentionality of what was the inspiration, what was the motivation, and then staying true to that. Partners Trust has also been able to create a charitable giving fund. And Nathan, you talk about the impact of business. And that was my 7-minute, right? That wasn't the 10? That was the 10. Okay, we're going to get to the challenge. You'll have to hear, but you'll have to come up and talk to me later. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, ask yourself this question. As opposed to considering, what do I have to do today? Ask the question, why am I doing it? And is it in line with that intentionality? And if it is, wonderful. And if you ask yourself that question back, well, I don't quite know what my intentionality is, start there and then bring the why from that. So, thank you very much.